What if your wife is still lying next to you every night? Still saying I love you? Still going through the motions, but in her heart, she's already gone? Most men don't see it coming. They assume everything is fine, because she hasn't left, but emotionally, she's already checked out. And once a woman's heart starts wandering toward another man, it doesn't happen all at once. It's a slow process, filled with subtle shifts and behavior shifts that most men ignore until it's too late. Maybe you've noticed her acting differently, but you've brushed it off. Maybe you've felt the distance, but convinced yourself it was just stress. Maybe you've even tried to talk to her about it, but she denies that anything is wrong. The truth? If you're even asking yourself if she's drifting away, then on some level, you already know the answer. The question isn't if she's pulling away, it's why. And more importantly, who she's pulling toward. Because a woman doesn't just emotionally disconnect for no reason. Something or someone has taken your place in her mind. And once that emotional shift happens, physical separation is only a matter of time. But you don't have to sit back and watch it happen. You need to see the signs now before it's too late. Today, we're exposing 7 psychological shifts that prove your wife is emotionally detaching and possibly investing in another man. If you recognize these, it's time to wake up and take action. Let's start with the first and most devastating sign. Sign number 1. She's emotionally checked out, even when she's physically present. Have you ever been sitting right next to your wife, maybe at dinner, maybe on the couch, maybe even in bed, yet she feels a million miles away? You talk to her, but her responses feel empty, like she's just saying words to keep the conversation going. She's there physically, but mentally and emotionally, she's somewhere else. This is one of the first and most dangerous signs of emotional detachment. A woman who is still emotionally invested in her husband will be engaged, responsive, and connected. But when she starts thinking about another man, her mind drifts. She stops seeing you as the man she wants to open up to, and instead, she withdraws not because she doesn't hear you, but because her emotional energy is already being spent elsewhere. It starts small. At first, she just seems distracted. She forgets things you tell her. She doesn't ask about your day. She zones out during conversations, but then it escalates. You try to talk about something important, and she just gives you a short, dismissive response. She used to laugh at your jokes. Now, she barely reacts. She used to ask you deep, thoughtful questions. Now she only talks about surface-level things. Here's the painful truth. When a woman stops engaging emotionally, it means she's already bonding with someone else. A woman can't give her heart to 2 men at the same time. If she's not emotionally present with you, then who is she thinking about? The worst mistake you can make is ignoring this shift. Many men assume she's just stressed, tired, or going through a phase. But phases don't last weeks or months. If she's been distant for a while, it's not random. Something has changed inside her. And if you don't act soon, she may drift so far away that you'll never get her back. Sign number 2. She no longer shares her inner world with you. Remember when she used to tell you everything? When she would come home and immediately start venting about her day, laughing about something that happened, or sharing her deepest thoughts, fears, and dreams. That level of emotional intimacy isn't just about talking, it's about trust, connection, and attachment. But now she's different. She's quiet, reserved. You ask about her day, and she just shrugs, says, "It was fine," and moves on. You try to get her to open up, but she gives you short answers, like she's not interested in sharing. She's no longer turning to you for comfort, excitement, or connection, and that should terrify you. Because a woman who stops confiding in her husband isn't just pulling away, she's redirecting that energy towards someone else. Here's what most men miss. When a woman starts emotionally investing in another man, she doesn't just cheat with her body, she cheats with her mind first. It starts as simple conversations, maybe with a coworker, an old friend, or even someone online. At first, it's innocent. But slowly, she begins trusting him, relying on him, craving his attention, and you get locked out. This is why many men don't see affairs coming. They assume cheating is purely physical, but by the time it reaches that point, the emotional affair has already been going on for weeks or months. If she's no longer sharing her thoughts with you, It means she's sharing them with someone else. And here's the scariest part. When a woman emotionally bonds with another man, it's almost impossible to bring her back. Physical attraction is easy to rebuild, but emotional attraction, that's something far deeper. If you don't take action now, she might never see you as that man again. Sign number 3. She gets easily annoyed by small things you do. A woman who is still in love with her husband will have patience, playfulness, and warmth. She might roll her eyes at your bad jokes, but she'll still laugh. She might tease you about your habits, but it's always done with affection. But when a woman starts pulling away emotionally, everything you do begins to irritate her. You leave a dish in the sink, she snaps at you. You try to joke around, she gives you a cold look. You touch her, she flinches, sighs, or pulls away. At first, you think she's just having a bad day, but then you notice it's every day. Here's what's really happening. She's emotionally distancing herself from you, but she doesn't want to admit it, so instead, she starts resenting you. Why? Because deep down, she knows she's pulling away. She might even feel guilty about it. But instead of facing that guilt, she redirects her emotions onto you. She starts picking fights over small, meaningless things, not because she actually cares about them, but because it's easier to be angry at you than to admit she's drifting towards someone else. This is one of the most painful stages of emotional detachment, because suddenly, the woman who once adored you treats you like an inconvenience. And if you don't recognize this shift, you might start thinking you're the problem. But here's the truth. It's not about the dishes. It's not about the way you breathe. It's about the fact that, emotionally, she's already detaching from you. And if she's resenting you, there's a high chance she's comparing you to someone else. Sign number 4. She's comparing you to other men. More often it starts subtly. Maybe she makes small comments about how her coworker is so ambitious, or how an old friend really understands her. At first, you don't think much of it. But then, it keeps happening. She starts criticizing you more, but instead of just pointing out flaws, she compares you to other men. I wish you were more like. Why can't you be more romantic? Like, you never listen to me the way he does. This isn't just random frustration, it's a warning sign. Because when a woman starts comparing you to other men, what she's really saying is, I'm already thinking about someone else. And once she starts making comparisons, she begins building a case against you in her mind. Instead of remembering why she loves you, she focuses on why she's unhappy with you. And every little thing you do wrong pushes her further away. Most men ignore these comments. They think she's just being critical. But if she's regularly mentioning another man in a positive way, he's already in her thoughts. And if she keeps comparing you to him, she's starting to wonder if she should be with him instead. Sign number 5. She suddenly becomes more secretive about her time. A woman who is emotionally loyal to her husband won't have a problem sharing details about her day. She'll casually tell you where she went, who she talked to, and what she's been up to because she has nothing to hide. But when she starts thinking about another man, she gets secretive. You ask how her day was, she gives short, vague answers. You notice she's spending more time on her phone, but she never lets you see the screen. She suddenly has plans that don't involve you, but won't explain them. And if you ask too many questions, she gets defensive. Why are you being so paranoid? Do you not trust me? You're overthinking things. But here's the truth. Women don't get defensive unless they have something to hide. She might not be having a full-blown affair yet, but if she's already investing her emotional energy into another man, she doesn't want you watching too closely. And once she starts hiding things from you, it's only a matter of time before she starts acting on her feelings. Sign number 6. She's less affectionate outside the bedroom. Physical intimacy isn't just about physical contact, it's about touch, warmth, and emotional connection. A woman who is deeply invested in her husband will show it through small acts of affection. She'll reach for your hand without thinking. She'll kiss you for no reason. She'll lean into you when you're sitting close. But when she starts emotionally detaching, or worse, emotionally investing in another man, those small acts of love start disappearing. At first, it's subtle. Maybe she stops initiating hugs, or no longer reaches for your hand. Maybe she flinches when you touch her, or she subtly pulls away when you lean in for a kiss. She might still be intimate in bed, but outside of that, she's distant, and that's a huge red flag. Because when a woman is thinking about another man, she will start associating intimacy with guilt. Even if she's not physically cheating yet, she knows that her emotions are drifting towards someone else. And every time she kisses you, holds you, or touches you, it feels like a lie to her. So instead of facing that inner conflict, she avoids affection altogether. Now, some men might think, well, at least she's still having physical contact with me. But here's the problem: in physical contact can become detached. If she's no longer affectionate outside of the bedroom, but she's still sleeping with you, it doesn't mean she's present, because if her heart is elsewhere, she might be in bed with you, but in her mind, she's with him. And that brings us to the final, most devastating sign. Sign number 7. She talks about the future, but you're not in it. One of the most overlooked warning signs of emotional detachment is when a woman starts making long-term plans, but they don't involve you. She might talk about trips she wants to take, but she never asks if you want to come. Career moves or lifestyle changes, but she doesn't consult you. Big life decisions, but you're an afterthought. At first, it sounds harmless. Maybe she just wants independence. Maybe she's just focused on herself. But here's the reality. A woman who is truly committed to her husband won't plan her future without him. If she's constantly talking about the things she wants to do alone, or worse, things that she's discussing with someone else, it means she's already mentally moving on. And once she stops seeing you as part of her future, she'll eventually stop seeing you as part of her present. This is how women leave relationships emotionally long before they leave physically. By the time you realize she's checked out, she's already made up her mind. That's why recognizing these signs early is critical, because if you don't, one day, she'll be gone, and you'll never understand why. If you see these signs, take action now. If you've recognized any of these 7 signs, don't ignore them. A woman doesn't just wake up one day and decide she's done. This happens gradually, over time. By the time she fully checks out, it's nearly impossible to bring her back. But here's the good news. If you catch it early, you can still fix it. If she's emotionally detached, you need to reignite that emotional connection. If she's distant, you need to bring back the intimacy. If she's thinking about another man, you need to remind her why she fell for you in the first place. Most men wait until it's too late. Don't be that guy. Recognize the signs, act now, and reclaim your marriage before she slips away forever. If this video opened your eyes, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights. Comment below, have you ever noticed these signs in your relationship? Let's discuss. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update.